Picture the most powerful man on earth, suddenly crawling on all fours, eating grass like cattle, his nails grown into claws, and his hair matted like feathers. This isn't fiction. This is the documented transformation of Nebuchadnezzar II, king of Babylon. Was this divine punishment for ultimate pride? Or could modern science explain what happened to history's mightiest ruler? Nebuchadnezzar II ascended to power in 605 BC, inheriting not just a throne, but the destiny of the ancient world. Under his rule, Babylon became humanity's first true superpower, gleaming metropolis where the Hanging Gardens defied nature itself and the Tower of Babel reached toward the heavens. His empire stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean, commanding tribute from Egypt to Asia Minor. This wasn't merely political dominance. It was the embodiment of human ambition made manifest in stone and gold. The archaeological evidence speaks volumes. Cuneiform tablets detail his massive construction projects, including the Ishtar Gate with its brilliant blue glazed bricks and golden lions. His palace complex covered 11 acres, featuring throne rooms that could house hundreds of dignitaries. But beyond the grandeur lay something more profound. Nebuchadnezzar believed himself to be the earthly representative of Marduk, the chief Babylonian deity. In his mind, divine authority flowed through his veins, making him not just a king but a god among mortals. This divine self-perception wasn't unusual for ancient monarchs, but Nebuchadnezzar took it to unprecedented extremes. His inscriptions boast of victories granted by the gods, of cities rebuilt in divine glory, of enemies crushed under celestial mandate. He had conquered Jerusalem twice, destroyed Solomon's temple, and carried entire populations into exile. In his worldview, he was the instrument through which heaven shaped earth, until the day heaven itself would reshape him into something unrecognizable. The transformation didn't happen overnight. Ancient sources, particularly the Book of Daniel, describe a series of prophetic dreams that tormented the king's sleep, each one more disturbing than the last. In the most significant vision, Nebuchadnezzar saw a massive tree reaching to heaven, providing shelter and food for all creatures until a divine decree commanded its destruction, leaving only a stump bound with iron and bronze. The dream's interpretation was chilling. The great tree represented Nebuchadnezzar himself, and its fall prophesied his own dramatic descent from divine heights to bestial existence. For 7 years, the prophecy declared he would lose his human reason and live as an animal until he acknowledged that the Most High rules the kingdom of men. But Nebuchadnezzar, drunk on his own power, dismissed these warnings as the fevered imaginings of subordinates. Modern psychology recognizes that recurring nightmares often precede psychological breaks, particularly in individuals under extreme stress. The pressure of maintaining an empire, the constant threat of rebellion, the weight of absolute authority, these factors create a psychological pressure cooker that can shatter even the strongest minds. Whether we interpret these dreams as divine communication or early symptoms of mental deterioration, they represent the first cracks in the foundation of Nebuchadnezzar's sanity. The king who believed himself a god was about to discover his humanity in the most humiliating way possible. Exactly 1 year after the dream, as Nebuchadnezzar walked upon his royal palace looking out over Babylon, he spoke the words that would seal his fate. "Is not this great Babylon, which I have built by my mighty power as a royal residence and for the glory of my majesty?" The moment these words left his lips, according to ancient accounts, his transformation began swift, complete, and terrifying. The condition that befell Nebuchadnezzar bears striking similarities to what modern psychiatry calls boanthropy, a psychological disorder where the sufferer believes they are a cow or ox and behaves accordingly. But the king's symptoms went beyond simple delusion. Historical accounts describe physical changes that suggest something far more complex. His hair grew like eagle's feathers. His nails became like bird's claws. and he was driven from among men to eat grass like cattle. Clinical lycanthropy, a related condition where patients believe they're transforming into animals, offers another lens through which to examine Nebuchadnezzar's experience. Documented cases show patients exhibiting animal-like behaviors, walking on all fours, refusing human food, making animal sounds, and even experiencing phantom physical transformations. These conditions often emerge during periods of extreme psychological stress and can be triggered by religious or mystical preoccupations, exactly the psychological profile we see in the Babylonian king. What makes Nebuchadnezzar's case unique is its duration: 7 years of sustained animal behavior. This suggests either a chronic psychological condition or, as believers maintain, a sustained divine intervention designed to humble ultimate human pride through ultimate human degradation. Modern neuroscience offers fascinating insights into what might have caused Nebuchadnezzar's dramatic transformation. Temporal lobe epilepsy, particularly when affecting the limbic system, can produce profound personality changes, religious hallucinations, and altered states of consciousness that could explain the king's experience. Patients with severe cases have been known to exhibit animal-like behaviors and lose recognition of their human identity. Another compelling possibility is ergot poisoning, contamination from a fungus that grows on grains and can produce LSD-like effects when consumed. Symptoms include hallucinations, convulsions, and in severe cases, prolonged psychotic episodes lasting months or years. Given Babylon's position as a major grain trading center and the king's access to stored cereals, chronic ergot exposure could explain both the gradual onset through dreams and the sustained nature of his condition. Porphyria, the royal disease that affected King George III of England, presents another intriguing parallel. This genetic disorder can cause severe psychiatric symptoms, including delusions, aggressive behavior, and in rare cases, the belief that one is transforming into an animal. The physical symptoms, changes in hair and nail growth, align remarkably with historical descriptions of Nebuchadnezzar's appearance during his affliction. Yet each medical explanation raises as many questions as it answers. Why did the condition last exactly 7 years, as prophesied? How did a man suffering from such severe mental illness survive in the wild? And most mysteriously, how did he recover so completely that he could resume ruling an empire? These questions push us beyond simple medical diagnoses towards something more profound about the intersection of divine intervention and human psychology. After 7 years of bestial existence, Nebuchadnezzar's reason returned as it had departed. The ancient account describes the moment with startling clarity. At the end of the days Nebuchadnezzar, lifted my eyes to heaven, and my reason returned to me. With his sanity came a transformed worldview. Gone was the arrogant monarch who claimed divine status, replaced by a humbled ruler who acknowledged higher authority. This transformation pattern, pride, fall, humility, restoration, echoes through history's corridors, from Napoleon's exile to more contemporary examples of powerful leaders brought low by their own hubris. Modern psychology recognizes similar patterns in recovery from narcissistic personality disorders and megalomania, conditions common among those who wield absolute power. The cure often requires a complete breakdown of the ego structure that supported the delusion of omnipotence. Nebuchadnezzar's experience offers profound insights for our current age of unprecedented human achievement and technological power. As we stand on the brink of artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and space colonization, his story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of believing ourselves beyond natural or divine limitations. The same pride that drove him to build monuments to his own glory drives modern ambitions that sometimes ignore ethical boundaries and natural constraints. The king's recovery also demonstrates the possibility of redemption, even after the most complete moral and psychological collapse. His later years were marked by wisdom, justice, and acknowledgement of powers beyond himself. Transformation that suggests hope, even for the most corrupted expressions of human authority. What truly happened to Nebuchadnezzar remains one of history's most perplexing mysteries, resistant to easy categorization as either purely medical or purely spiritual phenomenon. The precision of the prophecy, exactly 7 years of affliction, defies statistical probability if we assume random medical causation. Yet the symptoms align too closely with known psychiatric conditions to dismiss natural explanations entirely. Perhaps the most profound aspect of this story isn't solving the mystery, but recognizing what it reveals about the limits of human knowledge and power. Whether we interpret Nebuchadnezzar's experience through the lens of ancient faith or modern science, it confronts us with the reality that human understanding, no matter how advanced, always encounters boundaries beyond which mystery begins. The king's transformation forces us to grapple with questions that transcend academic disciplines. What is the relationship between consciousness and identity? Can divine intervention work through natural processes? Is there a level of pride that inevitably triggers its own destruction? These questions remain as relevant today as they were 2,600 years ago, perhaps more so in an era when human power reaches unprecedented heights. Nebuchadnezzar's legacy isn't just the ruins of Babylon or the historical records of his conquests. It is the enduring reminder that human greatness, no matter how magnificent, exists within larger frameworks of meaning and limitation that we ignore at our own peril. His story bridges the ancient and modern worlds, speaking to eternal truths about power, pride, and the mysterious forces that shape human destiny. From divine judgment to neurological disorder, Nebuchadnezzar's transformation defies simple explanation while illuminating timeless truths about power's corruption and redemption's possibility. In our age of seemingly unlimited human potential, his 7-year journey from throne to wilderness to wisdom remains remarkably relevant. What would it take for modern civilization to learn such humility without experiencing such devastating collapse?